Hello. Hello. That took a while. Hello. Can everyone see me? Can everyone see the Oracle of Whimsy? Well, hello, everyone, and a happy December 12th. It is I, your favorite Oracle, named Whimsy. How is everybody doing? Mila has been given a double dose of kitty kibble. She is also watching birds. Thank you so much, everyone who's decided to come by and spend your Sunday with me. My name is Whimsy, also known as Dr. Whimsy. And on Sundays, I channel my alter ego, who we affectionately refer to as the Oracle of Whimsy. Now, the Oracle of Whimsy, for those of you who don't know, is an ancient oracle that was first conceived in an ancient riverbed in a land far away from here. We pray the rivers will return one day, but until they do, alas, I am in exile from generation to generation, here to entertain all the little children and give them enchantment and hope and merriment. So I say good morning to you, and I also want to say congratulations to our graduating class. We've got a couple people who are we have our first teachers being certified to teach. So HCRV lives on. HCRV, of course, was not invented by anybody. It's just that HCRV certification allows you to teach the process secularly. It's a secular training of a phenomenon we see all over the world. So congratulations to the teachers that are getting certified, and we have a number of people getting a level 2 certification. So you're basically ready to start advertising that you do HCRV professionally if you're level 2. And then at level 3, you get to, start a school, start training, get organized, get some manuals happening. That's cool. And then feel free to invite me in, because I don't have time to start an HCRV school, but there are people that want to start HCRV in their schools, their metaphysics, which I think is great. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I also want to give gratitude to people who donated to the channel through PayPal. I received some really generous Hanukkah and Christmas gifts. And I did send emails. If I didn't have your actual address to send you a thank you card, I did send you an email. And if you did leave an address, then you will be receiving a thank you card. So thank you for that. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, it would be great if you could like and subscribe the channel. We really appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Boy, do we have some serious remotes to go through. Is everybody ready to talk about everything? Okay, so as people know, things are changing in the world, particularly when it comes to the January 6th investigation. It looks like now we're going to more of a public phase, and probably we're going to be seeing some indictments. Also, there were some subpoenas that were issued. I think 5 new subpoenas were issued. And some of the people that are refusing to talk to Congress are facing charges. It's a mess, right? Chris Wallace has resigned from Fox. It's interesting. When I went and did the Fox stuff, kind of surprised me. I had done a remote view. Was it 3-4 days ago? And Tucker Carlson, there was this federal investigation into Tucker Carlson. So that's a mess. It looks like they're looking at coordination between certain people who worked at Fox and the Trump administration, January 6th. And now Tucker Carlson is saying that the NSA is bugging his phone, which sounds like people were saying, oh, you're being paranoid, Tucker. The NSA is not bugging your phone. Oh, silly. Why would the NSA be bugging the phone of reporters at Fox News? Well, it turns out that his son evidently worked at the Capitol or something like that, and they appear to want to have access to his text, I guess, in real time. And also, I think he may have been texting the president at the same time, and that starts to look like coordination, right? Can people see that? So it was kind of funny. Somebody, I guess, who supported Fox News saw what I said. Oh, you're just down a rabbit hole. There's nothing wrong with Tucker Carlson. There's nothing happening. And I thought, really? Okay, well, I get things wrong. I mean, I got to stay humble, but it came for 2 days, Fox News investigation, coordination. And then the thing with Tucker Carlson broke about 16 hours later, and then Chris Wallace resigned. So I guess we're just going to have to see what happens with that. Yes, Foggy Ozark, hello, survived the beginning of the horrible tornadoes. Gee, yes, horrible. We have to pray for the people in Kentucky. Absolutely horrible. Wallace is a legitimate, reporter. I want to give gratitude and say hi to everybody that's here. Hi, Cher Bear, good to see you. Hi, Cardomancy Mesquite, good to see you. Kay Gillette's in the house, wonderful to see you. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Karen W. Raining here too. We've been getting a lot of rain. Good to see you, Pierre Walker, and thank you for your help today. It's much appreciated. Sue Malik, good to see you as well. Mary Montgomery's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Elaine Goad, hi. Foggy Ozark, yay. Thanks for your help. We'll continue to say hi to everybody. Also, thank you to everybody who's a member, who's joined. We've been having a lot of fun with the members. We've been doing spa day. We had a spa day on Saturday where we got together and we nourished ourselves. We talked about Ayurvedics. As many of you know, I'm a naturopathic doctor. So we got together and we had a spa day and we talked about balancing our energies from a traditional Ayurvedic perspective. We talked about the doshas, and then we did some personal blitzes, and that was cool. So yeah, if people want to join, it's a lot of fun. We also show people how to live healthfully and happily in simple ways, simple healthy living. All right, yeah, so Kentucky, Spotty was wonderful. Yeah, that was fun. Thank you for coming. That was a lot of fun. I had my spa robe, and I had given myself a little bit of a spa treatment beforehand. I really like taking time. I think it's so important for us to take care of ourselves, love ourselves, take care of ourselves. Yeah, it was. Oh, wow. That's so terrible what's happening with these it goes back to the remotes a couple of, was it 2 years ago that the wind was coming, the winds are coming. And I just started seeing these extremely strong, forceful winds being a serious problem with security. I'm also feeling a potential tidal wave. I know it's all Debbie Downer stuff, right? Potential tidal wave in the Pacific area. I'm a little nervous. Low lying areas in the South Pacific, parts of Asia. There's a real concern here that the earthquakes could trigger tsunamis, but I don't see it on the United States side. I see it on the eastern or the western side, of the Pacific. So it's almost like it starts here and then ripples and has an effect on the other side. That's my concern about tsunamis. So we just have to do our best to send good thoughts and prayers and scary times. Okay, so yeah. So getting back to the whole Oh, the bread. Oh, thank you, Ruth Pearl, also for your support and your donations to the channel. Very appreciative. And yes, I made another loaf of bread. I can happily show it to you. But I was having a nap and I fell asleep and like, my bread. So it's really dark. But any bread recipe you have, if you don't want to get your hands dirty and knead it, if you've got a blender, you can just mix it all in the blender, whip it up, and leave it alone, and then come back, whip it again, add more flour, whatever the recipe is, and then you just scoop it out. Some people like to oil their blender beforehand, put a little oil on the sides so that it's going to be easy to remove. It'll just plop out. You could do that. Could do. But yeah, that's a good old fashioned blender bread so that it works like a bread machine. You don't get your hands dirty. And then I just take a flat spatula and I just work it out and put it in my pans and bake it. You don't want to make too many loaves at the same time, otherwise it's going to boil over. I was having sushi with my friend Renee, and I had, oh, welcome to Elders. Oh, I have to do this when a person becomes an elder. Marcelina Robeldo, welcome to Elders and Empaths and Healers. Woo! And if you join at that level, you can get certified to practice HCRB. So that's cool. Anyway, we welcome you. So yeah, that's the blender bread recipe. The other thing, going back to the issues of politics and all of that lovely stuff that we love to talk about here at the Oracle of Whimsy. What do you all think about the fact that Matt Gaetz, I want you to think about this for a second. Matt Gaetz. He is a congressman serving with the security, with the, what do they call it? The security committee, right? In Congress. So he is, for the time being, a congressman for the 5th largest economy in the world. And he was on the security committee. What possibly could happen to you that you would walk away from that so you could work with a rag magazine? Does that make sense? He was with, thank you, Judicial Committee. Think about this. Is that really a career step up? Is that what you would call a step up in your career? You go from congressman to the 5th largest economy in the world, working on the Judicial Committee, to working for Newsmax. You do the math. Which is a better power position? So won't we love to get into those records? I don't know. So Gaetz is a loser. Something's going, he's hiding, yeah. And then we have Mark Meadows also in trouble because he's trying to set, that's not going to go very well, what's happening with Mark Meadows, but we can go into it later if people want. Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene is probably going down. We've talked about that. And Boebert probably. They've got to have some fall guys. And usually in these situations, the fall guy is the person who isn't really one of them. And one of them are the people like Rupert Murdoch, who support, eugenics and truly believe that some people are born to be leaders. That whole phenomenon, right? And they're the ones that control the news. He's seeking an arrangement. Yes, that sounds about right. So, yeah. And then, of course, people are worried about the new variants that are happening with COVID. We can look at that. People are worried about the various different elections. Also, people are worried about the Trump investigation that's going on in New York. We can look at that. whatever you guys want to look at. But before we do all of that, would you like to get a community reading? Do the empath's prayer in a community reading, or would you like to talk about something else? Matching bracelets. Well, we are entering into the time, Ed, of the winter, which is the time traditionally when humans would hibernate, and we would gather up our food stores and we would sew ourselves into our own clothing, like the Irish and the Brits, and we would hunker down for a long winter's nap. And then in the springtime, we would break ourselves out of our hibernation. People would sometimes go as long as 40 days without food. Can you imagine? All right, so people want to get the empath's prayer and community reading. And I think that's a great idea. Starting at 1622. All right, before we get started, any other questions before we give our reading, community reading to the group? You're welcome. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. Until it's going to be good. My Hungarian curls are starting to go crazy. I just got out of the shower and I couldn't find my blow dryer. So it does I get my payas, what we say in Hebrew, Yiddish, my payas. Okay, where we are collectively as a group. It's really interesting. We're entering into a really interesting time of leaving behind the things that no longer serve us. We're leaving the things that no longer serve us. And that could unfortunately be the way we've had relationships in the past. It's kind of a harsh reality that sometimes we are in relationships with family members and the people we love, and it becomes a situation where in this world, there are givers and there are takers, right? In this world, there are givers, there are takers. And I think we also live in a world where there are people that will take advantage of us, right? We have to continue to be good-hearted, loving people, give when we can, but we also have to understand when we're being taken advantage of. And the people who are dragging us down, the people that are codependent relationships, are relationships where helping the other person is not helping them. It's simply helping them to remain helpless, right? So the base of the matter is the Five of Pentacles, and Five of Pentacles can be a poverty card. It's a card that denotes a person who may feel spiritually in exile, physically in exile. They may feel that they have to remove themselves from certain situations that are dragging them down. It's two people locked out of the church. There's an aspect of exile to the Five of Pentacles. And so the fact that it comes as the base leads me to suspect that there are a lot of people in the group that have come to the realization that they cannot continue to do things the way they have in the past. And they cannot continue to have relationships with people in the past that were only one-sided. You give, you give, you give, and the more you give, the more dependent that individual becomes on that stream of giving. It's like if you're the main person feeding them, if you're the main person giving the milk, then the person becomes more and more helpless and becomes more and more dependent on the milk from that, from that cow, right? So that's the kind of imagery they're using. If this need to get away from an energy where there's a continuing helplessness, and the more you give, the more helpless the person becomes, and the more you give, the more helpless. That's codependency. So that dynamic is shifting, and we see a new energy moving in, and that's the karma card, right? So when we do a standard Celtic cross, I always take two cards from the bottom, the first being the summary of the reading, which is to walk away from situations that drag you down, put you in exile, and also, or actually to some extent, destructive to your spiritual growth. You can see the karma card, though, is rather nice. It's the Page of Wands, which is a spring card, and it can sometimes denote a new beginning in a person's life that they have. This is a winter card, by the way, too. You can see the snow on the ground. It's almost like winter, things pass, and the spring, a new beginning comes of new relationships, wanting to be as independent as possible, not being helpless, taking responsibility for our lives, realizing that we must save ourselves, not waiting for someone else to come and save us, and also re-examining the relationships we have with other people that may be draining us. In such a situation, we're not being helped and the other person's not being helped either. Where we are right now, we're looking beyond our current situation, and there's kind of an independence here in the sense that once we let go of the people and situations that drag us down, we become independent and are able to go and find our destiny separate from that, because our destiny is not to be used in a parasitic kind of relationship by other people. You can see here the first house is a Three of Wands, which is to look beyond our current situation. And it's also considered the good luck card. The crossing obstacle can sometimes be family dynamics. We can see the crossing card is the inheritance and family dynamic. Some would argue that it's the karma that we inherited, which is very different than the karma of, ancient feudal Hinduism. This is more talking about, for better or for worse, this is the family I'm stuck with. This is the situation I'm stuck with. But the fact that it crosses us could be an indication that many of us feel that our family dynamic or our family relationships are an obstacle to our own, pursuits of happiness to some extent. What is above us? The energy coming in, mercy, charity, justice. So the good news is we don't stop becoming philanthropists. We are philanthropists here. We give what we can. But there's a Six of Pentacles moving in, which would indicate also that there has to be a balance. So we still maintain our compassion, but it comes from a place of balance, and it shouldn't be based on destroying our own lives to help somebody else. What we sit below is a decision of judgment, or having a clear judgment going forward. What we sit in the past relationship, the world. This would indicate to me that many of us have amazing talent and amazing abilities, but perhaps because of circumstance, family dynamics, etc., we weren't able to totally utilize our gifts. And then the near future is a happy home and a happy family. You have the choice to decide who your family is, and it has to be a family where everyone's on the same page. There will come a time when all of us need help, right? When we become ill, when we have trouble taking care of ourselves. Are we having a problem? I'm just sorry to interrupt here. Do we need to get rid of somebody? Okay, that was dealt with. Sorry about that, folks. So we already come out of a place of the world, which again would indicate that this is a community that has a lot of potential. Sound judgment. You want to be a giving philanthropist, but it has to be fair. This is somebody who seeks fairness as opposed to just being drained by parasites, you know. What's good is that you have this 10 of Cups coming in. Some of you could be having some very nice romantic energy coming in for your future. Happy home, happy family based on mutual respect. Like I said, there will come a time when we will not be able to care for ourselves, right? This is just part of the natural order. But that's very different than somebody who is helpless because they don't want to take responsibility for their life. It's a different dynamic. Where we're at right now, we're entering into the time of the Magician, which means that we have a situation now where we have the tools at our ready to create whatever life we want for ourselves. But we have to be honest with ourselves about the people we're in a relationship with. Is this constructive or is this destructive? Are we being used? Are we being exploited? And that goes for our jobs as well. Magician recognizes that he or she has the power. They have the power within them. It's kind of like the story of Dorothy, right? And others in relationship to us. People could be getting jobs. If you're worried about a family member or if you're worried about somebody not getting it together, rest assured, the less you help them, the more they will have to stand on their own to take care of themselves. People you could be concerned about who are unemployed will probably be getting work because the person you're having opposition to has a new job or new beginnings. So in a way, pulling back and discouraging codependence is probably a good thing for the people in your life that you're concerned about. I see love and romance for some of you. You can see here the Lovers card coming in. The fact that the 10 of Cups was coming into the 6th house would also denote happy family. Some of you are going to be physically moving. You can see the 10 of Wands. And I see people starting new careers that express their talents and their abilities. I also see that some of you you don't just have the talent and the ability, but you have the power right now and are reasonable enough to do what you need to do in order to make your dreams come true. The clarification over the Magician is Emperor of sound mind and body. And again, the fact that the Judgment card is here in the 3rd house would basically be, I would suggest that you get a 5-year plan and a 1-year plan and get yourself organized and just start chipping away at what your dreams and goals are, because this is somebody who's very reasonable, very organized, and is going to be able to manifest what they want. Also, by taking care of your own business, you inspire and bring out the power and the independence in others that's already there. The person that's been helpless or the person that's been in this codependent relationship potentially with you doesn't realize just how strong she is or he is. And by pulling back and being a role model, being about your business and creating the life for yourself, what do I need to do to get organized? How do I get about my business? What is my business? What do I want? What do I want? How do I get it? What's my 1-year plan? What's my 5-year plan? That's the kind of energy I would definitely say you've got the power now. You've got the reason now. You're from a place of judgment. You've remained compassionate, but this is about balance. Some people get the coin, some don't. What's interesting is that you heavily influence other people. For example, the people that you're worried about are entering into the time of power, independence, and work. It's kind of like the more you pull back and take care of you, they look at you and say, well, if she can do it, so can I. So that it's actually better for the other persons. Regarding your relationships with others, they say that you've gotten to a point in your romantic relationships where you're done. If the other person doesn't have your ethics, your values, is not willing to step up to the plate, that person is not worth your time. You can see over the issue of lovers, intimate relationships, etc. You have a 7 of Wands. Also, this is the sacred relationship between human beings and God. right? So Seven of Wands would indicate somebody who is standing on the high road, trying to make the best decisions for themselves and others, right? This is the empath's prayer, to make the best decisions for ourselves, for our planet, for the people we love, but even to help those that we may have strife. That's really the Seven of Wands, who stands on the high mountain, also the water protectors, and is fighting the good fight. You only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much energy. So the fact that the Seven of Wands is coming over lovers, look, either you're going to step up to the plate and do what you got to do, or not. But I only have 24 hours in a day. I got to go be about my business. I wish you all the best, but there's a limit, you know. Final outcome for you, business person, being smart with your money, frugality, living dramatically below your means, reinvesting, being smart with money, being educated about money, not being irrational with money, the banker's card, working hard, and it's your money. You worked for it. You have a right to it. You have a right to enjoy it. So this is somebody who is smart with their money, is learning about money, has learned to be frugal, has learned to take their money and to help their money grow more money. That's the energy of the King of Pentacles. I would say with these types of cards, hello, my love. Thanks for coming. Just wanted a kiss. I would say, oh, is your birdie out there? Do you want me to open this up so you can see a birdie? Yeah. There you go. There's your birdie. I would say that those cards are extremely positive for anybody who's basically trying to get it together, pursue a new career or business. I mean, the thing that's most powerful about your reading is that it basically says you've got a lot of talent already. I mean, you're coming out of solid judgment. You're coming out of the world. And you're entering, you're going to have to bust your ass over the next year. This is looking like it's a year's period. Definitely new business opportunities. But if you work hard now, by spring, you have a very successful business opening up for you. You can see busting your tuchas. Work smarter, not harder, by the way, with the Ten of Wands. And being really smart with your finances. Good cards overall. Again, it's the same thing, though, that happened last week. A lot of people are really having to put the kibosh on family members and start to have some boundaries. Did that give you all some clarity? I'm not able to read the comments when I'm doing a reading. Hi, Patricia. Good to see you. Oh, no, Miss Patricia. There are so many things you can do. For example, you can look at what's in your freezer. You can look at what you already have. Do you have rice? Do you have beans? Do you have peas? And then you plan your Christmas meal with what you already have, and then you supplement with another. Oh, I didn't want you to cry, Foggy. I hope those were tears of joy. Okay, so I'm glad to help. And if you need to come in and see me, I do phone readings if you need to make an appointment. And Chuck is my assistant. Y'all know Chuck, the empath. He's starting to get orders for family members, Chuck, that have passed. It's really interesting to he's a physician's assistant. That's his day job. But it's been fun to see him develop as an artist and a medium. And so that's cool too. Anyway, I'm so glad, Melinda. Yeah, not everybody can come in for a private reading. And so this is just a way so that I can give a little something back to the community. Okay, so Mila and I are just waiting for the next. Oh, C. Boyle. Wow, I didn't even have a chance to finish the sentence. I've got a blitz away. I've received an order. Oh, Redwood, thank you so much. I love coffee. And I will definitely use that for coffee. Somebody sent me $100 bill in the mail. Oh my goodness. You know what I did with that $100 bill? I went out to lunch with my friend Renee, and then we went to the 99-cent store, and then the rest we gave to homeless people, which was kind of cool. I had $5 bills and $1 bills, and anytime someone would say, "Do you have any money for food?" Yes, we would give it to them. And Renee also gave money, and we were like, she was thinking, "Oh, that's really nice." And we were like, "Yeah, I think it's not really my money, so it's kind of like, yeah, I got to have lunch and buy some candles at the 99-cent store, but then it's cool because then I have cash on." And I was like, so it was kind of nice. Got to enjoy a nice lunch. That's good karma, right? I was like, oh, I had some good karma. I got to treat myself. And also, the man that was waiting outside of Uwajimaya, he was hungry. He's like, it's just for food. I'm hungry. So together we gave him $10 and he went and got himself some food. So it's nice to keep, the good karma. All right. So yeah, but you know what, Foggy Ozark, you're doing the right thing because according to those cards, setting boundaries and setting limits and pulling the plug is actually the best thing you could do for the other person. They're not saying pull it entirely. Six of Pentacles is some people do need help, some people don't, right? Like the guy that was hungry outside of Uwajimaya. He needed to eat. He wasn't looking for drugs. He was starving, right? So some people, hey, I've been there. And then there are other people that just have become helpless psychologically. The more you give, the more in their mind, the more helpless they become. That was what they were talking. That's what the Six of Pentacles is about. Mila is watching a pesky crow that sits on the top of the light pole and drives her absolutely insane. And then she starts to talk to it. She starts going. Thank you so much, Patricia. Ooh, hi to you. Hi, Minneapolis. It's a great town. I bet you folks are freezing over there. Yeah, it's okay to be wrong, but he wasn't a drug addict. I mean, his skin was good. He didn't have meth skin. I think he was transient. I think he was probably just hitching around Oregon. That's what it looked like. I wish I could be transient. As long as I had money. As long as I had money. All right, so we're ready for some blitzes, and we do have some questions here. People want to know about Matt Gaetz, and if you have a question as well, you can go type it out. Also, the moderators will help you set up to make sure I see the questions. But I think the first thing we're doing is Matt Gaetz. And somebody had also wanted to check on the real reason that Chris Wallace left. I think that's a very good question. But I want to look at Matt Gaetz first because this doesn't make, am I the only one that thinks this makes no sense? Okay, let's take a look. So we're going to do Matt Gaetz and then we'll do Chris Wallace. And then somebody also asked if Chris Cuomo was coming back or what was going to happen with him. We didn't get to that last week. I apologize. And voting rights. Okay. The future of Matt Gaetz. We'll just do a blitz. We'll do 4 cards. I love hanging with you guys. So much fun. Victory within 1 year. Ace of Swords. Victory after tears regarding. And then ethos, the Constitution. They say within 1 year, the Constitution will win. Large money, double aces. And then the final outcome, attempting to return back. So honestly, what I think is, I think he's going to be shamed. I think there's going to be some major investigation. I think they're going to follow the money. I think that the Constitution will win. I think that America is going to look very different in about 9 months, 9 to 10 months. And I think that after this falls apart, I think Matt Gaetz will try to win himself back into the good graces. And there's also something here about Matt Gaetz wanting to go back to Congress. You can see here within 1 year, Ace of Swords, victory after tears. Also, I think the prosecutions are going to be starting after the holidays, January, which would make it 1 year from January 6th. So we know that swords are read as years, right? Wands as months, pentacles as weeks when you're trying to get a timeline in a reading. So we know that the energy shifted December 11th. We followed the energy. And then after December 11th, there's a shift. We have an Ace of Swords, victory within 1 year for the issue of politics, right? The government, the ethos of the government. We think of the Constitution as the Hierophant. So within 1 year, starting from January, we have this positive movement happening. We also see financial situation becoming really good. However, for Matt Gaetz, he attempts to get back in. So this is almost like somebody who loses it all. It falls apart. The Constitution wins over 1 year. And there's something here about he was forced out. You can see here the Eight of Pentacles. He was forced out. He knows that in January, the major phase of this investigation starts, which will be public hearings, indictments, etc. Those start in January, right? And again, we're talking about the time of January. So we have him leaving. He wants to get out. He doesn't want to be there for the hearings. Regarding the issues with the Constitution, he fears that he will actually have to serve time in prison. And we can see here the Constitution within 1 year, hearings starting in January. And then we have the jail card, 9 of Wands for Matt Gaetz. Regarding following the money and the economic situation, that's ultimately, it goes back to eugenics, wealthy white aristocrats. They want to keep the New York Athletic Club restricted, right? It used to be restricted, the New York Athletic Club. Black people couldn't join, Jewish people couldn't join, Catholics couldn't join. It was only white, wealthy Protestants, right? These were the days of restriction. So they want to go back to the days of restriction, the Matt Gaetz of the world. You've got the money and then the grief. I think it's going to cost him a lot of money. And then regarding his attempts to get back, I think he'll be publicly shamed, and I think he'll be taken out of Congress. There's a lesson here to be learned, but also Six of Pentacles is to be pulled away from a difficult situation. I think the money and wealth that he has will protect him from jail, but I think he's publicly ruined. The fact that there's a Six of Swords there, Six of Swords would indicate that he's being pulled from a bad situation into potentially a better situation. The fact that he fears that, I think he's fleeing public hearings. It's all becoming public. It goes back to what Congressman Resnick, is that how you say his name? Am I not pronouncing it? What's his name? I'm sorry. I forgot. Where he said that they're fine-tuning, following the money. So by January, Liz Cheney is ready for those hearings. So that's what he's doing. He's leaving that, and there's going to be a public shaming, it looks like, and he will be pulled out of it because of his dad's money, probably. Well, that doesn't sound good, right? Okay, now people want to know about Chris Wallace, and we had done a remote viewing. Good question, Paisley. Probably, because if you go back to the remote we did on Fox News, it looked like the feds were looking at, you're free to say whatever you like as a news agency, right? You're free speech. That's not what they're under criminal investigation for based on the remotes. What they're under criminal investigation for based on the remotes is that they coordinated. That's not news. That's a crime. And Tucker Carlson knows that, which is why he's freaking out and saying he sounds a little paranoid. The NSA has tapped my phones. Oh, don't be ridiculous. And then it came out that he was communicating with his son, and it's not looking too good for him, to be quite frank. And yeah, they should be tapping his phones. Also, if he was communicating with other people that were coordinating, that's not being embedded in the traditional sense of a reporter being embedded. That's somebody actually participating. And that slippery slope is what the feds are looking at with him. Okay, so the next thing we're looking at, people wanted to find out why Chris Wallace left Fox. Oh my God, yeah, it's so bad what happened in Mayfield. All right, so let us look now at why Chris Wallace left. Why did Chris Wallace leave? There is a bird bouncing around down there. Mila's on the case. Why did Chris Wallace leave? Big money. There's something here about big money. So part of it is that he has economic opportunities elsewhere. Star. This is somebody who potentially could have his own show and have more independence. If you look at him, for example, trying to oversee the presidential debates where he had to scream and ask the president to shut up, where he didn't feel like he had control over things, this is somebody who is going to have more money and more control. You can see the star. So his career is not over. So when he says he wants to pursue other opportunities, it means more money and his own. He was possibly lured out of Fox News for financial reasons. Yeah, a new contract. So we have big money coming. You're going to be the star, new opportunities. Maybe he was pulled over to NBC. And then the final outcome for him, yeah, he leaves. Okay, now we'll do a clarification. So on the basic level, the basic thing we're seeing is more money to be a star, he wants more producer rights. Here's the contract, and here he is leaving Fox. Now I'll do a clarification about it, the money situation. Yeah, it's a new job. You can see here, Page of Pentacles, a new job. Regarding him being a star, zero tolerance, Two of Swords. So there's also, he got tired of Fox. He didn't feel like he had complete control as a producer. There were things going on. There were some challenges he was having. Over the new contract, justice, the courts. So also, if there's a legal problem with him ending the relationship or something like that, it could be an unpleasant ending for him at Fox with that kind of card. Would indicate also possible challenges with his contract. Regarding leaving, there could be some retaliation, some backstabbing from Fox, false night. There could be a little bit of attacking him, particularly if he goes over to NBC or another station, which is ABC. I think he's offered a contract with another station. I think he wants more control as a producer. I think he's going to be given more money. And I think he was also having some problems with the dysfunction there. And I think that we could see retaliation from Fox because he leaves. That's basically what it says. Interesting. Katie Arbuckle. Yes, the FBI and NSA is tapping Tucker Carlson's phone. Because he did things he shouldn't have done. That's right. It's kind of interesting. All right. So, he's going to CNN. Yeah, he was offered more money and more control. He wanted more control. I actually agree that CNN has zero tolerance policy for certain things, including they're not going to put up with coordination. I mean, even with Cuomo, right? So we're going to look at the future of Chris Cuomo now. It goes back to the remote views where 40 people were sitting in a room with Andrew Cuomo, and that it was almost like a village of people that had Andrew Cuomo was put into the position that he was put in because there was a team of people. This was an old family, and you don't eat by yourself in that family. You have 40 people you eat with. So he represented like a village almost. All right, let's take a look at the future of Chris Cuomo. Oh, so he took the job. Okay, so Ace of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, new job. Okay. Chris Cuomo. But he wants more producer rights also. Chris Cuomo. Investigation. Star. Andrew Cuomo's going through a really hard time. He feels like he disappointed his whole community. He disappointed his family. He disappointed his friends. He disappointed the people that he was representing. I think he'll write a book about it. There is a kind of arrogance here that he has to deal with. But he got to be on something of a power trip, and the people that depended on him and relied on him, seeing how he disappointed them is very, very difficult, including what happened to his brother. The people that were loyal to Andrew Cuomo paid a heavy price for being loyal to him. Yeah. Star up, investigation, still a star. I don't know if he was in New York before, but he's in New York now. He's grieving his losses. I just feel such guilt and shame from Andrew Cuomo that he did this. There's a judgment. There's actual potential investigation happening here with Chris Cuomo, and possibly because of Andrew Cuomo. And then, yeah, star, and then Two of Wands due to some kind of partnership. I think he's going to be okay. He doesn't have a future at CNN. He's not going back to CNN. Let's see. I think that he could start, it's very possible that he doesn't go even into broadcasting. It could be starting a new kind of career or a new kind of business. Um, we'll see. I think he's going to be okay in the long run because he's in a position of power. He's thinking about what's happening in the future. It goes back to what Mr. Weber had said, that you're going to help your family. You're going to help your family. And this family is so tight. Of course, he was going to help his family. But yeah, Melissa, he could go into business. Those are cars like 201s waiting for your ship to come in. Yeah, he's going to be fine, but he might not. And I think Andrew Cuomo's writing an autobiography, by the way. It's going to be a mea culpa, similar to Michael Cohen. Yeah. Right, John. I think you're right. It's the feeling that you have to help because it's your family, but then you wind up in the middle of the crazy, and it goes back to today's remote, just energetically for this community. There's only so much you can do, and if the more you help, the more passive and helpless the other person becomes. That's not good either. And then you don't want to be pulled into whatever it is they're doing that potentially. I just feel a lot of shame and guilt and tears from Andrew Cuomo, and gratitude for everyone that's tried to help him, and gratitude, a grief over the price others have paid trying to help him. Okay, so the next question people want to know about has to do with COVID-19. Is that the next one we're doing? Julian Assange. Okay, that's a good question. We'll do Julian Assange. So a lot of people are having mixed feelings about the fact that the British have basically said that Julian Assange can be extradited to face charges. What is it? Espionage here in the United States. So we're going to go ahead and look at the future of Julian Assange. Thank you. Thank you for that kiss. I appreciate that. Okay, Julian Assange. Hi, Mila. Not doing well. He's got a grief card here. He's got a huge team of lawyers that are working their asses off to try and help him. He's got the grief card here, but he's got the mastery card. They're just doing every legal thing they can do to protect him. The Ice King, the police, the military. I don't think anyone plans on showing him any mercy. Not with the King of Swords moving in. Mila, that's not a toy. I've asked you not to do that. Mila, that's not a toy. He could face extradition because there's an Ace of Wands coming in, and Wands are 1 month. So he's grieving. Oof, nightmares, trouble sleeping. This guy is really in a bad place. This guy is in hell. Honey, that's not your toy. Stop doing that, please. That's not a toy. No, not a toy. Mila, that's not for you. Okay. The master. Oh, yeah. I think they're running out of legal options for him. Huh. You know what? There's something about charges being dropped, potentially charges being dropped. Huh. There's a new phase in the investigation, but there's also, hi, honey, I don't want you to chew on that because that's not a toy, and I told you not to chew on that, okay? Excuse me. Yeah. Some event's going to take place with him within a month. I'm worried about his health. There's something here potentially about the police hanging up some of the charges. There's some confusion here with his defense trying to do everything they can to avoid him being extradited. I don't know what I'm seeing, but in 1 month, there's going to be a major development with him. Some event that's going to God, let me just try again. Let me do another clarification. I'm worried about this guy's health. You know, stress, heart disease, anxiety, regarding his legal defense, all over the place, confusion, trying to fight the good fight. They feel that it's wrong. There's something here. I think some of the charges are going to be dropped. Some of the charges are not strong enough from the police. It had to do with stealing or releasing information that he shouldn't have had access to. This is Biden may show him some mercy. It's a possibility that we'll choose not to prosecute certain things, but we'll know more in about a month. That's what I see with Assange. She pretty much Mila destroys whatever she wants. Oh, Assange had a stroke in prison? Oh my gosh. Yeah, there was a 3 of Swords there, which can be coronary artery disease. Stroke definitely would fall into that category. Narrowing of the carotid artery. Oh, John, darling, John Weber. Welcome to Fairies and Angels, John Weber. We appreciate you. Thank you. You've joined a really fun group. Well, that was interesting. Okay, somebody wants to know about voter rights. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. You're so sweet. So what do y'all think about the voter rights situation, huh? All right, so it's voter rights. We're going to be able to pass something to protect our voter rights. Very important question. Let's take a look at voter rights in the United States. New districting. Oh, Jane the Seeker. Jane the Seeker has become a fairy and an angel. Are you a fairy? Or are you an angel? I'm not an angel. I'm a mischief maker. Thank you, Jane the Seeker. All right. I'm having fun. Voters' rights. By the way, this is the last Sunday for the next 2 weeks because I am going on a cruise with Norwegian to the Mexican Mediterranean, to the Mexican Riviera. Woo! And you may be asking yourself, but Dr. Wimsey, how can you afford that? 70% off, honey. 70% off, $695. Yeah, and if you don't drink, which I don't, you have to add $400 if you want to have the drink package. I don't drink. And then you get someone to share with you the cabin. The second, I got 50% off, and then the second person got 70% off. I wheeled and dealed. Yeah. Triple tested for COVID, safer than eating in a restaurant. You got to be vaccinated and booster, and you got to have a universal check 24 hours before getting on the boat, and then they check you every 24 hours. You can check yourself in your cabin every 24. So it's very, very safe. Anyway, I'm excited. So I won't be here next Sunday because I'll be getting on the boat. And I won't be here the following Sunday because I will be getting off the boat. Thank you. And they have an environmental steward on the boat. Every single trip with Norwegian, I feel like I work for Norwegian. They do not dump. They do green composting. So they don't hurt the fishies. And they also maneuver where to take the boat so it doesn't interrupt the sea life, which is also important, evidently. Okay, so voter rights. What's going on with the voter rights? You guys can come along if you want. Leaving on the 19th, coming back on the 26th. Norwegian's the best if you're and so is Disney. They both are approved by like EPA standards. But Disney has children, and I am just not. I want not the kids, right? I don't think Mila is getting it when I say this is not a toy. Oh, damn it, Kayla. Okay. All right. We have to figure out how to get this. There we go. There we go. Go look at the birdies. Two PCR test. Yeah, I feel very safe. Okay, voter rights in the United States. Money, big money. Big money. Investigations, law, the hidden law revealed. Hey, you know what I remember when I was talking to you all about how the corporations are really in charge and how we have a change in how we do politics in the United States right now? Because now we are focusing instead on the politicians, we're focusing on big business like McDonald's, right? Which markets to people of color in predominantly Black neighborhoods, right? You're entitled to eat junk food. They'll give you money to open a junk foods restaurant in poor neighborhoods, tobacco and alcohol, right? Or maybe firearms, right? But they're not going to give you money for a health food store, right? Redlining. So you have something here where there's this need to start exposing companies or corporations that do not support voter rights, particularly if they're marketing to people of color, the poor, etc. And then the hypocrisy if they're supporting policies that don't allow for voter rights. So the pressure has to be on the corporations that they support voter rights. So you have the big money, and then you have the law, the investigation into what the actual law says. So the high priest, a happy family. A new beginning. So cleaning up our business, going after the corporations, going after the businesses, exposing them, or to bear the light, right? To, or in Hebrew is light. Torah is the process of revealing the light. It's not just the 5 books of Moses, right? So you have the big money being exposed, leads to a celebration and happy family and a new beginning. We have to shame the corporations into supporting voter rights. That's basically what they're saying. And it coming out. If McDonald's Corporation is backing the Republicans and their policies, which are hurting the people that are eating the McDonald's food, that needs to be exposed. So again, here, exposure of the money. Where is the money? If we're paying $100 million out of our tax dollars and giving it to Comcast, and Comcast is using the money to become a bigger monster to oppress the very people that gave their tax dollars to lay down the Comcast cable, then if I cancel my cable, they don't care because they've got a $100 million contract with the federal government. So my $69 a month is no big whoop to them, right? The bigger money is coming with these government contracts. So the exposing of the money plays a huge part in whether or not we're going to see voter rights going forward. And then the expose, refusing to see or an attempt to suppress the facts. She's having a great time. She's watching her TV. Yeah. Can anybody tell me what the motto is of the Queen of Wands on this channel? Like, what's the motto? I just want to see if anybody can remember. What is the motto of the Queen of Wands? What does she always say? When you're in that mode of Queen of Wands, what does she say? What does she seek? She stands with her staff of authority, and she seeks what? I seek. Ooh, Barbara D. Wood. I bet she's a good reader. Judge Judy, right? I seek justice absolute. Absolute justice. Well, I'll give you a compromise. I'll let half the slaves go, right? That kind of person? No. I'm not going to leave you alone until I have justice absolute. So you have the Ten of Cups, which is the happy family. Then in walks the Queen of Wands. A happy family doesn't mean you compromise your values. You stand without reservation and say, I seek justice absolute, and until I have justice absolute, I will continue to pound on your door. We, the American people, seek justice absolute. The new beginning for us, the Four of Wands, results in things happening very, very quickly. And also it's the time of August, the Eight of Wands. Yes, we're going to go after the corporations. We're going to start publicly shaming them if they don't support voter rights. They're going to have to lick their wounds and give up because this is a fight they're not going to win. Also, the dirty relationship between their money and potentially contracts that are hurting the American people, I think that that's going to be exposed. And I think the American people are done. We seek justice absolute. And I think it's going to happen very quickly with an Eight of Wands moving in. That's what I would see. Not good. Some kind of mercy possibly shown to Assange. The thing with Julian Assange, Melissa, is that his health looked quite bad. Trouble at night, coronary artery disease, possibly. My way or the highway. Yeah, she does have that. But the difference is that my way or the highway, Catherine Rodriguez, is more an inverted Queen of Wands. An inverted Queen of Wands would be my house, my rules, my way or the highway. That's not necessarily seeking justice absolute. Whereas the Queen of Wands, she is loyalty personified. The decisions she makes, the decisions that she makes in life are for the good of the tribe. She is loyal to a fault, but so that is why she's trusted as a leader, because people know when you give her money, when you give her the power, she's going to use it effectively. This card reminds me to some extent like Nancy Pelosi. It really fights for her constituents. She fights for the people. RBG would fall into that category. A Judge Judy with her zero patience, where she's raising her voice and she just cuts to the quick. She's fair, but don't waste my time, kind of a thing. That's Queen of Wands. Boycotts, YouTube videos, you choose I would choose a company. I would choose one company, and I would choose one neighborhood. Say, for example, it's, Baskin and Robbins in a poor neighborhood that's doing, then you just out them and you use that one local grassroots issue and you keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And you try and get people like Rachel Maddow involved, and then you get the press involved and you shame them. That's basically the new way of doing politics, unfortunately, because of Citizens United. It's not, there is something more powerful right now than our Constitution and our political leaders. It's the people pulling this, that with the money strings. And so if we really want things to change, we have to go after the money, and we have to drag them out and shame them, which is, by the way, similar to what happened in the creation of communist China. They literally took the people that were oppressing the serfs and drug them out and said, you're going to have to confess to every horrible, rotten thing you did to these people. You kept them as slaves, you stole their property, you oppressed them, and people had to own it and atone, or things were not going to go well for them. And so to some extent, that is where we're headed now, this kind of public shaming, and the American people are done. We're tired of the games with Comcast and other corporations BSing us and not taking no for an answer, and like the crap I had to go through. They said, oh, we're going to give you a great offer, but if you don't stay on the phone, say, okay, fine, and you hang up, they just cancel the whole thing, which happens 90% of the time. They know you're going to hang up, so you have to, it's part of our game. You have to stay on and say, okay, I'm going to stay on until you execute that order. Well, you didn't stay on and execute. You didn't tell me to stay on and execute. No, I didn't. It's just psych games by psychopaths. And so you shouldn't have to fight that hard with an American business to do the right thing. They should just do the right thing, right? So that kind of public shaming, it has to come out. Oh, American people are done. But we're not going to, calling out politicians in the future political arena doesn't seem to get us very far, because they'll just find another tool. They'll go find another Marjorie Taylor Greene. When she gets chewed up and spit out, the powers that be, the corporations that have put those people there in the first place with their money, who are doing the spin, who are controlling the news so that they can put their person in there, those are the people we need to go after. Don't go to the secretary, go to the boss. All right, so Joe Tilson is asking about the indictments. Some people feel like the indictments will be happening before Christmas because we're entering into the public phase, according to Cheney. We know that there was, like I said, an energy shift between the 11th and 12th, so weird stuff is going on. We know that Congress is also breaking, Matt Gaetz is leaving, etc. Something's going down. So we're going to go ahead and look at Joel Tilson's question, the indictments, and if they're going to be coming in soon. We've got about 8 minutes left, and then I'm going to bow out and let some of the other readers come on. I usually stay till about 12:30. All right. What is the future of the indictments? They've already indicted a lot of the smaller people. But let's take a look. Yeah, you've got the devil. So it's scary because it's almost like the political situation is set up in such a way right now in the United States that you can't get elected if you don't have corporate support. These are wealthy business people, or the American aristocrats, right? The Carnegies, the Fords, the Bushes. These are multi-billionaire people who they get to, our boy is going to go in there and he's going to protect our interest, right? This codependent relationship is what we're talking about. So it feels, when you're looking at it from the perspective of a politician, it's almost like the addict. The drug addict cannot do anything without the supply, right? Whoever the supplier is. And so it almost looks like that kind of codependent relationship. They answer to somebody above them, and it's not the Constitution. It's the person with the money strings. It's the lobbyist. Fool takes a leap of faith regarding a codependent relationship. The truth coming out. Archangel Michael, who carries the sword. We look at pages as messengers, and in the case of the Page of Swords, it's messages of truth, and he's the archangel that carries the sword, goes to battle against the devil. So we have the devil, a fool take a leap of faith, and then Archangel Michael comes in to battle the devil. I would also say, given that kind of juxtaposition, that the Page of Swords is probably the indictments. Happy family. Let's do the clarification on this. The devil, ooh, they've got the goods. It had to do with people were taking money on the side, because the Nine of Pentacles over the devil, I would interpret that as somebody was fluffing their own nest a little bit. You know, they were fluffing their own nest. And that's ultimately what got... The corporations did this to us. The eugenicist, the 6 months. It's 6 months of a very active 6 months regarding this public hearings that are going to take place. Yeah, it was about the money. They followed the money, which is what they said. The truth came out about the money. Yeah, the hearings and probably the indictments are starting in January, Joel. You can see here, I was looking for that card, but you can see it here, January. The Ace of Swords, the 1 year, and it's the 1 year from the time of January 6th would be January 6th, right? So we have our January card. So starting in January, we're going to see the public phase of the investigation and probably the indictments coming down. But I think there'll be indictments before that, just because I think there may have been some stuff filed December 11th, just because of how the energy shifts on the 11th. Here's the takeaway also when you go into this energy. The old Justice Department that existed under Donald Trump, the old Attorney General is gone. Those folks are gone now. And instead, we have a very different situation now. Now we have a Justice Department that works. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and there are consequences. This is a working Justice Department, and you don't get to attempt to overthrow the federal government without consequences. Yeah, so justice is served. Ace of Swords would be truth coming out, victory in the battle, happy home. If we want voters' rights, we must hunt down and find every corporation that's been attempting to prop up this chaos and publicly shame them. The truth is that the people that are involved in Citizens United that are attempting to coordinate this sort of thing have to be, we have to see the subpoenas, and we have to see them coming forward, and that's probably what's going to happen. Well, I think Bloomberg supported Biden's, and that's what happened, I think. Okay, there was something else people wanted me to do. We have time for one more throw, and then I'm going to call it a day, and we're going to go ahead and let the next person come out. Really good seeing everybody. Hi, Michelle, my belle. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everybody who became a member today. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody who also made donations today, and also the PayPal donations. Very appreciated. Gonna have a good time on my cruise. You guys should come. There's still openings. Expedia.com. Leaving from the Port of Los Angeles on the 19th, Norwegian. Last call, 4 p.m. Check Fortune 500. Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is Democrats need to get organized. We need to look at every single company and where their money went, and we need to literally publicly shame them and trust me, it will hurt. Also, I don't think the American people want companies like Comcast to get $100 million contracts. We don't want the monsters to get bigger if they're violating our basic rights, right? We want to have something to say about that. We're not going to give these monsters more our tax dollars so that they can get bigger. Oh, thank you, Redwoods. Thank you very much. Call out the names of others who are on Sunday afternoon. I think Linda G is going to come on. Oh, did she say she wasn't coming on today? Maybe she said she wasn't going to be able to come on today. I can't remember. Oh, you're turning Indiana around. Good. Well, Indiana is supposedly a really great state, and there's a lot of cool people there, and they're kind of like feeling like they're being terrorized by a bunch of wingnuts. I will be gone 2 brunches. This is my last brunch for the next 2 weeks because I'm cruising. Oh, Linda's in Vegas. Oh, good for her. Las Vegas. Nice. Good for her. All right. Do we have a one question to close us out? I think we got to everything. Oh, thank you, Tony. Happy holidays to you too. My next brunch would probably be January 2nd. Yeah. Omicron. Oh, yeah. You guys wanted to ask about the cruise. It leaves the Port of Los Angeles at 5 p.m. on Norwegian Cruise Line, if you guys want to hang out with me. And I think it's like 6 days, something like that, 6-7 days. And we are going to go to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta. And they've got a whole vegetarian buffet, Indian buffet, and plenty of vegan food, vegetarian food. They really, I'll tell you, Norwegian has it together. These folks have it together. That, it's a great company. All right, COVID-19 future. I'm not too worried about Omicron, but Delta, they say, is fierce. And a lot of young, healthy people who didn't feel that they needed to get vaccinated. This is the concern they had, was that there would be variants that are more dangerous than the original. And so we have some like Omicron, which are not particularly dangerous for people who are vaccinated. And then we have the really aggressive Delta, which is extremely dangerous. Okay. What is going on with... Okay, Yalapa, I'll remember that. Future of COVID-19 in America and beyond. COVID-19. The problem is that I think the Delta is extremely strong. And for those people who are not vaccinated, it's really bad. You can see here the first house, 10 of Swords. It just gets stronger and stronger and stronger the longer that people don't get vaccinated. Also, they're now thinking people who have HIV, what happens is that these viruses get into our system, into our DNA, and they create little mini factories inside the white blood cells, and then they reproduce, right? So it has it's a single strand RNA, similar to HIV, which is also a single-strand RNA. So they think that some of these new viruses, as they pass from host to host, they can take on some of those characteristics. And so you can see, unfortunately, the Ten of Swords is where we're at right now. As long as people are not vaccinated, the risk of more virulent strains or Delta potentially becoming even more virulent. There's good news, though, that the pill for people who have COVID, we're going to be seeing releases of new types of medicine, like the pill coming out within a month. You can see Ace of Wands, success in business, possibly dealing with this. If we've got some aggressive types of medicines we can give to people, that looks to be where we're headed, because this is the new business card. But it's also, we have a false promise here. It's not a miracle worker. It's not the same as vaccination, but it's going to do some good. And then the final outcome, they're making things a lot harder for Biden. It's almost like they want this catastrophe to go as long as possible so that it will hurt Biden's administration. The clarification for the future of COVID, Ace of Swords, we will conquer it. It's going to be taken care of probably within 1 year, right? Over the new medications, the medications are going to help. They're going to become more developed. So that's like the pills, etc. The false knight, unfortunately, we still have a lot of people, seniors, people with compromised health, even with the medications, probably will not be helped. Unfortunately, we have a Four of Swords here. It just goes back to the importance, if you can vaccinate, make sure you vaccinate. And then over Biden, assistance, leadership, strong leadership. There's another man coming in to assist. So I would say, it's another game, but it's a game that's playing with the lives of the American people. So that's pretty sick. I think we're going to get control of it in another year based on what I'm seeing here. I think they're going to start developing new types of medication that will stabilize patients after the fact. And I think that despite the fact that this is a difficult time for Biden, we're going to start seeing strong leadership with the King of Wands, which would indicate that this too shall pass. Okay, well, I am speaking of vaccines. I have to get myself some food, and then I'm going over to Kaiser to get my booster. And that is basically what we are doing. Yeah, John, I think you're right. All right, love and light to everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, it would be great if you could like and subscribe to the channel, support the channel. And again, thank you everyone who's become a member, and thank you everyone who has financially donated to support the channel. It means a lot. And I guess I'll see you all in a few weeks. I'll be sure. I will take plenty of pictures from the cruise. And if you want to hang with me on Christmas, come join me. You can get everything on Expedia.com. Your second guest is 70% off. You're never going to get it's never going to be cheaper. And the ship is only going to be a third full. So we'll have the whole place to ourselves. It's going to be awesome. All right. See you all later, everyone. Thanks a lot. Be well.